People were busy with their daily affairs. That very night, the grandfather of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib, was standing on the roof of the Holy Kaaba when his eyes suddenly caught sight of a radiant light in the sky. It was such a bright and shining light that it spread across Arabia, the East, and then all over the world. Seeing this extraordinary scene, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib was astonished and quickly came down. When he entered the Kaaba, he saw that the 360 idols placed there by various idol worshippers had fallen and shattered on their own. When he stepped outside, he witnessed yet another strange sight. Water began to flow between Kufa and Sham, a place where there had been no sign of water for many years. At that very moment, his eyes turned toward his house. From there, he saw a miraculous and heart-touching light shining out, a light unlike anything he had ever seen before. Hazrat Abdul Muttalib slowly made his way home. Dawn was near. The midwife, Shifa, joyfully opened the door and ran toward him, exclaiming, "O Abdul Muttalib, rejoice, for you have been blessed with a grandson." Tears filled his eyes. When he reached the door, he saw that Lady Amina was holding a radiant child in her arms, and from his blessed body emanated a divine light. Witnessing this scene, tears streamed down the face of Abdul Muttalib, for in that dark and sinful Arabian society, a guiding light had been born. The beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, the blessed birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, took place on a Monday in the month of Rabi'ul Awwal. Most historians agree that it was the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, though some mention the 8th or 9th. That day illuminated the entire world with a new light of guidance. The next day, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib sacrificed a camel in gratitude for the birth of his beloved grandson and fed the poor and the needy. His son, Hazrat Abu Talib, assisted him in this blessed celebration. During this gathering, Abu Lahab also came. But when he learned that he would have to sit and eat with the poor, he turned back from the door in arrogance. For Abu Lahab was a proud and self-centered man. Meanwhile, Lady Amina had no milk to feed the newborn, so a wet nurse was called. She was a servant of Abu Lahab's wife. When Abu Lahab returned home, his wife angrily said, "Why did you allow my servant to nurse that child?" She too was arrogant and selfish. Elsewhere, Jewish scholars were discussing among themselves. They had realized that a special child must have been born, for their sacred scriptures had foretold his coming. The radiant light that appeared in the heavens that night confirmed to both Jewish and Christian scholars that the awaited child had come into the world. But the Jews were deeply troubled, for the child had not been born among them. They began sending women to search for him, offering money and gifts, hoping to find and claim the child. Days later, a ceremony was held to name the newborn children. People were rejoicing. Among them was Hazrat Abdul Muttalib, who took his beloved grandson in his arms and approached to give him a name. He placed his hand upon the black stone, Hajar-e-Aswad. And at that moment, the door ring of the Kaaba began to strike against the door, while beams of light shone from the infant's blessed body. Hazrat Abdul Muttalib then declared, "This child shall be known as Muhammad, the praised one, and no one shall ever change this name." Everyone fell silent and accepted his words. Later, Abu Lahab came to take back the servant who had first nursed the Prophet, peace be upon him. When the infant began to cry from hunger, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib went to Abu Lahab and asked, "Why have you taken her away?" Abu Lahab arrogantly replied, "That servant was a gift from my wife, so she belongs to her." Hearing this, Abdul Muttalib became angry and said, "You are his uncle and speak like this? I would give my life for Muhammad, peace be upon him. But know this, Allah is the best protector. It was then Allah's will that the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, would not remain without milk for long. In those days, it was the custom among the Arabs to send newborns to the desert to be nursed and raised by Bedouin women so that they would grow strong and learn pure Arabic. These women were paid for this noble service. That year, several women from the desert came to Mecca seeking children to nurse. Among them was a poor couple whose camel had grown weak from the harsh journey. They sold the camel cheaply and went to find a child to nurse. But by the time they arrived, all the other women had already taken children. Saddened, they began to return.
Just then, the butcher who had bought their camel began to slaughter it. But suddenly, the camel stood up and ran away. It fled straight into the house of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The woman ran after it and entered the house, exhausted and hungry. Lady Amina, seeing her condition, invited her inside, gave her food, and laid her blessed child in the cradle. When the woman looked upon the infant Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, she saw rays of divine light shining from his body. She was filled with awe, picked him up gently, and nursed him. This blessed woman was Hazrat Halima Sa'diyah, the foster mother of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Since no one had taken the Prophet, peace be upon him, due to lack of worldly reward, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib personally spoke to Halima and her husband. Even though they knew there would be little reward, they accepted with open hearts. Lady Amina, despite her pain and longing, entrusted her beloved son to them, receiving 2 camels and a donkey in return. When Halima took the Prophet, peace be upon him, back to her village, rain began to fall for the first time in years, and Allah's blessings descended upon her home. 2 years passed in this blessed state. When the appointed time came, Halima and her husband brought the Prophet, peace be upon him, back to his mother. As soon as he entered Mecca, the Kaaba shone with divine light. Lady Amina wept tears of joy at seeing her son again, but soon a plague spread around the Kaaba. Around that time, Abdul Muttalib learned that the Jews of Bani Israel were still searching for the Prophet, peace be upon him. Fearing harm, he again entrusted the child to Halima, saying, "O Halima, this child is a trust from Allah. Guard him carefully." The Prophet, peace be upon him, returned to live with Halima. Sometime later, she fell ill. The local healers and magicians tried to cure her but failed. Seeing this, the young Prophet, peace be upon him, asked them to leave. He held her hand, and by Allah's mercy, she was instantly cured. Witnessing this, the magicians realized this was no ordinary child and reported it to the Jews. Enemies soon attacked Halima's home, seeking to capture the Prophet, but she and her husband protected him. Fearing further danger, Halima's husband took the child to a mountain near Mecca for safety. When Halima saw them leaving, tears flowed from her eyes uncontrollably. When Abdul Muttalib learned of it, he went to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and spent nearly a year with him in a cave. During that time, the barren desert bloomed with life. Later, Lady Amina took her son to Medina to visit relatives and to visit the grave of her husband, Hazrat Abdullah, who had passed away there 2 months before the Prophet's birth. In Medina, Lady Amina spent some time telling the young Prophet, peace be upon him, about his father, but on the return journey, she suddenly fell ill and passed away. Thus, at only 6 years of age, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, became an orphan. When Jewish enemies tried to attack, his uncle, Hazrat Abu Talib, protected him and brought him back safely to Mecca, placing him under the care of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. The Prophet, peace be upon him, lived closely with his grandfather, helping him with the care of the Kaaba and serving pilgrims who came for Hajj. One day, while performing tawaf, Abdul Muttalib became ill. Sensing the opportunity, the arrogant Abu Lahab tried to become the leader of Quraysh, but Abdul Muttalib instead appointed Abu Talib as his successor. Shortly afterward, Abdul Muttalib passed away. At the age of 8, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was left completely alone. After that, he lived with his uncle, Abu Talib, in Mecca, tending goats and performing various tasks. Time passed in this manner, and when he reached the age of 12, his uncle, Abu Talib, who was a merchant, took him along on a trade journey. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that every new video reaches you.